In a globalized world, ocean carriers are facing the challenge of managing huge amounts of transportation resources, such as containers. Some of the main questions they have include: how can we optimize our transportation resources? How can we provide our customers with better service and at the same time reduce the cost of operations? SAP Transportation Resource Planning provides answers to these questions. SAP Transportation Resource Planning helps you to transform your business model to dramatically increase the visibility of transportation resources in stock and in transit. You benefit from enhanced computation models that determine the current and forecasted supply and demand of empty resources faster and help you avoid cost-intensive repositioning. Let's take a look at how SAP Transportation Resource Planning helps you meet these challenges. How can I increase the visibility of my transportation resources? With SAP Transportation Resource Planning, you can check for surplus and deficit situations by resource type in selected locations. Then drill down to the resource view to check the resource status of the location. You can get detailed alerts about critical situations. You can also monitor the amounts of resources currently moving from one location to another. Here, you can select a vehicle resource from the upper table. Then you can see the stops for this vehicle resource. I found out that we have a surplus of the 40HC resource type at this location. Now I need more information to analyze this problem. Can I monitor resource-related KPIs? Yes, you can. In the Home Work Center, you can monitor alerts, idle rates, import-export quantity, and the supply and demand situation in your locations. You receive notifications about critical situations. Let's look at a more detailed view. The chart view shows the idle rates of selected locations, and the map view allows you to zoom in and out to check idle rates on the map. Will this situation impact the container supply in the future? Let's take a look at the Supply and Demand Work Center. To get information about an upcoming surplus or deficit situation, you need forecasted data about both supply and demand. How can I get a reliable forecast of my future supply and demand situation? With SAP Transportation Resource Planning, you can check the forecasted supply and demand situation in selected locations. It looks like the deficit will go on for a while. You can drill down to see the detailed supply and demand for different types of resources in the same location. Now you can switch to the Alert, Status, and Details view on the map to compare the supply and demand levels in all locations and resource types included in the underlying plan. Now I have a clearer view of the supply and demand situation for my empty resources. How can I avoid the repositioning of empties and increase the utilization of my resources? How can I reduce the cost per resource? SAP Transportation Resource Planning provides two features for optimizing the supply and demand of your resources: pickup and return optimization, and resource balancing. Here you create, compare, and evaluate different scenarios for correcting an imbalanced supply and demand situation. Then you can implement the optimal scenario. You can create a new balancing simulation plan or open an existing one. You can run automatic balancing to add activities proposed by the system or add activities manually, or both. Now you can update your simulation data and then check the results. You can also compare these scenarios and check the balancing costs. Once you've decided upon the best scenario, you can finalize it. The activities are sent to your SAP Transportation Management System for execution. After you have detected a pending resource surplus or deficit, you can optimize the locations for picking up or returning your resources, for example, containers. To do this, you need to first create a pickup or return rule set. Then you can have the system perform automatic optimization, or you can make assignments manually, using the locations suggested by the system as a basis. In either case, the updated pickup and return locations will be sent to your SAP Transportation Management System and executed there. SAP Transportation Resource Planning delivers support for planning, managing, and optimizing the use of your transportation resources. It helps you make sure that the right resources are available to fulfill your customers' demands at the right time, in the right place, and at a minimal cost. SAP Transportation Resource Planning makes a difference for your business.